When I think about the storm and the levee failure, knowing that the same way you can teach children about butterflies and rainbows, that you're teaching them something when you don't give them food and water. They're still learning something.
Most kids that suffer through traumatic events or tragedies in their lives, they have a one-time experience and then they go back to a semi-normal state. This is different. Our city is still very devastated, and there's evidence of that devastation in every part of their lives.
The actions and the decisions that came out of Washington did not directly support children and families. And I think we could do that better if we really took kids and families seriously.
This is Morning Edition from NPR News. I'm Renee Montaigne.
And I'm Steve Inskeep. Hurricane Katrina is coming ashore along the Gulf Coast this morning. The storm has been downgraded.
Obviously, we could have done a much better job of evacuating. We knew that a huge percentage of our population didn't have transportation. So having a mandatory evacuation is that name only.
I lived in the lower ninth ward. It was a lot of water all of a sudden. Water started coming through the floor, coming through the toilet, coming through the sinks, coming through the tub. My youngest was like, "Mom, we got to swim, we got to swim." It's like, yeah, we're gonna have to swim out. In the dark, when it was night, you could hear people, "Help, I'm stuck in my attic, I'm drowning." It's just like a moan gone over, the whole night walk, because that's all you can hear.
The critical first days, nothing happened, and it set a tone of slow recovery that we are now really struggling to change.
5 days in the Superdome. More kids than adults. Plenty of kids. And was there anything for them to do? No. And every time they tried to do something to entertain themselves, they were shut down by National Guard. If they're trying to get on the field and run around a little bit or play football or laugh or dance or jump, it will always shut down.
And I think huge mistakes were made at every level, and that includes federal, state, and local, frankly. But the federal government really has the resources and help should have been in place long before it actually was.
The first 2 days, I was expecting them to be there. Oh, they're not here today, but they'll be here tomorrow. But tomorrow never came.
The response wasn't for the children. It was really about getting business back. And you can't get business back if people can't do something with their children. So the parks, the schools, the libraries, those things needed to be up and running.
There are neighborhoods with no care, so as people return, they're looking to see what are the various pieces. Is there health care? Is there child care?
In New Orleans proper, Orleans Parish, we lost 80% of our child care capacity. And in the 5-parish area of Greater New Orleans, we lost half. We did make an effort in the first several months to access FEMA money to help rebuild some of the child care centers that had been destroyed, but we never could get a positive response that would lead us to move forward.
A quality, nurturing environment sets the stage for the rest of your academic life, and definitely sets the stage for the rest of your emotional life. They work more, they go higher in school, they're better paid as employees, they have more stable families.
There's a really large need, indescribable need for mental health care for children suffering the loss and returning home and going through the grieving process.
Whenever it rains, there's inconsolable crying on the children's parts. One little boy told me Katrina ripped the skin off of his house. He's 4. He was talking about the siding on the house, and to him it was skin.
It was estimated that some 45% of the kids and the teenagers would be suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder by the end of the first year at some level or another. There's no way the mental health system can keep up with that.
Charity Hospital, which was the main source of care for the uninsured in New Orleans, is permanently shuttered and it's not coming back. So there is some question as to, even if doctors were to return in larger numbers, if they would have offices to go to and hospitals to provide care at.
The money that comes down from the federal government via the Stafford Act, which is for crisis counseling but no long-term treatment, is nowhere near going to fill the hole that's there.
Children, by their very nature, have to be cared for, have to be given to, have to be planned for. And you can tell the more successful the planning and the caring for children is, the more successful the city.
You know, the whole business about the village raising children is true. And we need to support the capacity of the village to really do the job that's set in front of it.
The policymakers need to know that New Orleans is a worthwhile investment, and this city is a culture unique unto itself that when it thrives beautifully, and it's special. And to let it wither away is a loss that's immeasurable.